Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Monday, and all of our guests today are sponsored by Basant Motors. Basant Motors celebrating anniversary number 31, and to celebrate, they are continuing to give back to the community with their annual scholarship. This year, it's over $31,000. Learn more at basantmotors.com. We will not have time for DTMZ today, but I will remind you that DTMZ is always brought to you by the Arnold Palmer Design Whistler Golf Club, reminding you that great conditions await right through the Thanksgiving long weekend. Book online with Al Chris Manson at whistlergolf.com. Look at those pictures.
Oh,
beautiful weather. September in Vancouver, the best month to golf. I'm sure Elliot was standing by for the last 5 minutes, is happy to hear that. He joins us now, as he does every second week on a Monday, from Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliotte Friedman, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Ryan tells me your clock management is worse than the Broncos.
Yeah, not that bad. But I could. I've only been in the business for 40 years, so give me some time, Elliot. I'll work on it. Hey, we just found out moments ago, as I'm sure you did, and of course this is of interest to people in Vancouver. Jake Virtanen signs a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers. What's your reaction to that?
A little surprised, but Edmonton has shown that they're willing to do this, and. Like I said, I was a little bit surprised. I know Virtanen really wanted to get back into the NHL. I know some teams really wrestled with it and decided against it, but Edmonton is the one that decided to take a chance. So we'll see where it goes.
Elliot, I believe you tweeted some things out about this subject. Do you expect Nathan McKinnon to become the NHL's highest paid player? I'm
trying to pin down the number, Don. I think there's a chance of it. I think the number this is my guess, that it's going to be somewhere between 12 and 13. The highest paid guy right now is McDavid, 12 and a half. I think it's possible he gets there. Look, his comments last week were really interesting. He kind of said that he realizes taking 20%, which is 16 and a half, doesn't make any sense. But I still think it's going to be a very big number, and I think the Avalanche realized that very quickly. So I do think it's possible he gets above 12 and a half, but I think the number is going to be right around there. He's going to be pretty close if he isn't.
Elliot, Ethan Bear, Niels Lundqvist, Niels. These are guys out there. The Canucks are looking for a right shot D under 26. They fall into that category. I just talked to Jim Rutherford this morning. Any update on Bear, where he could end up?
Well, I do think the Canucks are interested in Bear. The one thing, though, is that Lundqvist's number is easier for them cap-wise than Bear's is. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think Bear is a guy who can probably help them more right away, but it's from what I've heard, Bear is a tougher deal to make in terms of their fit with Carolina and the cap implications than the Lundqvist one is. And we'll see if that turns out to be true or not. Basically what I heard with Bear is they're definitely interested, but I'm not sure that there's a deal to be made there. Lundqvist, they're definitely interested. And I think there's the possibility of a deal to be made there. And I think it's a little bit easier for them for cap reasons. I just think that if this season is more meaningful to them, I think Bear gives them a better shot this year than Lundqvist does. Yeah. But he's a talented young guy.
Yep, absolutely. Craig Button will tell you that. Just kidding. Anyways, you don't know the history, Elliot. Craig came on the show and ripped him. But anyways, the Canucks are interested. I don't know how I set that up. But anyways, they are interested. I have to ask you, because I asked Jim Rutherford this morning, Elliot, any update on Bo Horvat? Jim did say, we don't want this hanging over our heads going, Elliot, into the regular season, kind of like, they'd like to get it done before the regular season opener. But sometimes it gets done, sometimes it doesn't. Any update on Bo?
Look, I think what we've learned now, Rick, is that the Vancouver Canucks can change their direction at any time.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's funny. I had some friends of mine who live in Vancouver. They were ripping me because you kept on saying that it was being tough to get Miller done and that you thought they were going to get Horvat done. And of
Right.
course, the reverse has happened so far. And, I just think that was simply because the Vancouver Canucks made an organizational decision to pivot and change their strategy a bit. And so, I always look at the surest predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Yeah.
And the last I checked on Horvat last week, I had heard that there was nothing close and it wasn't progressing. But what do I know now? I know if the Vancouver Canucks want to get this done, they can get it done tomorrow, basically, because we learned that last way. So I'm wary of that. I don't think this. I've heard some people say that this is going to be in the sixes. I don't believe it's going to be in the sixes. I think at the very least it's going to be in the sevens. And I've actually kind of wondered since Miller's number got done if there's a chance it could be closer, if not in the eights. But we'll see. I do think that I still believe that if Bo Horvat wants to stay and the Vancouver Canucks want him to stay, and I have no reason to believe there's anything different, there's a way to get a deal done here. I just think now that what we've learned from the Canucks is they can say we're taking a path, and then they can alter that path without telling anybody. So I look at this situation with that eye.
Elliotte, Winnipeg, they stripped Blake Wheeler of the captain's C and go without a captain. Is that the right move for the Jets? And what's Blake Wheeler's future consist of?
I think the Jets had decided at some point in the summer they wanted to do this. I think with Wheeler, they talked about a trade with Wheeler at the end of last season and during the summer. I think they looked into it. I think Wheeler was okay with them looking into it. Obviously, it never happened. But I do believe that this was something the Jets really thought about. New era under Rick Bowness, fresh start. I think Rick Bowness is the kind of guy who can handle this. He's used to dealing with and not afraid of dealing with the group dynamics of a locker room. Look, I think last year was a really hard year for Winnipeg, and I think they just want to start everything all over. I think Blake Wheeler was a demanding guy. I think for a long time, the Jets took a lot of pride in that. They liked the way that he kind of attacked things in their dressing room. But then things change when you start losing. And, we had this long conversation about this on our podcast today, guys. The line between demanding and sometimes going too far, It's very thin. You have to walk the line between being demanding and being inclusive. And, Patrice Bergeron, for example, is a guy who has a reputation for doing that extremely well. The guys in Tampa who are extremely demanding have a reputation for doing that extremely well. But I think sometimes, if it goes on too long or your team starts losing, the line moves and things change. And I think that happened in Winnipeg.
And speaking of captains, Elliotte, one more. Nick Suzuki, do you understand why the Habs made that move, making the youngster their captain?
Look, I just think they want to tell him that this franchise is yours. I think that kid's a really mature kid. I think he's mature beyond his years. He's got a coach who's really smart. He's got some veterans who've been around and I think understand also how those group dynamics work to help him. But, sometimes I wonder, like I remember when Vincent Lecavalier was given the captaincy at a very young age, I thought that was too young and he didn't have a lot of veterans around him. I think Suzuki is in a better position to handle that than Lecavalier was at the time. Obviously, he grew into it. But I do think that the Canadians have a decent enough support system that they can make that work.
Elliotte, a holiday for so many people in Canada because of the Queen's funeral, but not for you. Working hard as always. We thank you so much. Thank you so much for
you guys too.
Yes, well, we do have a short show today, so
it's only 1 hour.
Semi-holiday.
Yeah.
For us.
Oh, so I assume you guys are only taking half your paycheck for today, right?
Rick is. I have a better deal.
Hardest working man in the biz, Elliotte Friedman.
Thanks, Elliotte.
You, Rick. Take care, guys.
Have a nice day.
You bet.
Lovely.